There is a language women speak that never becomes sound. It moves through the body before the mind catches up, and it lives in the moments when her guard drops just enough to let one person through. When a woman shows you a part of herself she keeps hidden from everyone else, she is not being careless. She is choosing you. She is letting you pass the wall, into her trust, into the version of herself the world never gets to see. That is not speculation. That is biology. That is millions of years of instinct pointing in one direction. What follows are 9 signals most men walk past every single day without ever knowing what they missed. These are not tricks or games. These are moments when a woman's body speaks before her words are ready to. Think back to a time you were close to a woman and something changed in the space between you. You could not name it. The air shifted. She moved differently. Something in your chest responded before a single thought formed. That was not your imagination running ahead of you. That was biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. Women do not always reach for words when something matters most. Sometimes what they feel is too unformed, too vulnerable, too close to the surface for language. So the body speaks instead. It always has. When a woman shows you a part of herself she unconsciously shields from the world, that is not casual. That is her nervous system arriving at a decision about you before her conscious mind has even noticed. Over the next several minutes, 9 of those moments will be laid out clearly. 9 silent signals where her body delivers the truth before her voice ever could. And one of them, the 7th signal, is so deeply embedded in human biology that once you understand it, every interaction you have ever had with a woman will suddenly come into focus. But here is what almost every man gets completely wrong about attraction, and it is the exact reason most of them never see what is directly in front of them. The first signal is the neck reveal. Most men believe attraction begins with words. It does not. It begins with what she shows. You are talking with her. Maybe it is a quiet evening. Maybe it is an unremarkable afternoon. And then, mid-sentence, with no deliberate thought behind it, she reaches up and sweeps her hair to one side. Her neck is bare. Her eyes stay on yours. Something shifts in the air between you, and you feel it in your chest before you can explain it. That moment is not random. The neck is one of the most exposed and unprotected areas of the human body. Every survival instinct we are born with tells us to guard it. So when a woman unconsciously bares her neck in your presence, her body is overriding its own defense system. That is not a social habit. That is her nervous system making a judgment. This man is safe. This man I want closer. You have felt the weight of a moment like that before. You simply never had the language for it. When she exposes her neck to you, she is handing you access to her most guarded place and quietly hoping you understand the significance of what that means. The second signal is the wrist flash. People tend to think attraction is obvious when it arrives. Most of the time, it is not. Sometimes it is as understated as the turn of a wrist. This is a signal most men have witnessed 1,000 times without once understanding what they were seeing. She is telling you something, maybe a story, maybe something that made her laugh. Her hands are moving, open, alive, and then you notice it. Her inner wrists are facing toward you, palms up, pulse visible. She has no awareness she is doing it, but her body is doing something deeply intimate in plain sight. The inner wrist is thin-skinned and exposed, the place where blood runs closest to the surface. In the study of body language, exposing the inner wrist is one of the purest unconscious signals of openness and trust a person can offer. She is showing you something unguarded without saying a single word, something she does not share freely, something most people never think to look for. The next time you are with a woman, notice it. Open palms, wrists turned outward. Then compare that to someone sitting across from you with arms crossed and hands closed. The contrast will land like a wall. Vulnerability lives just under the surface of the wrist, and she is letting only you see it. The third signal is the collarbone trace. The first 2 signals are quiet, nearly invisible unless you know exactly where to look. But this one is different. This is where she stops whispering and begins to guide. She is directing your attention to precisely where she wants it, and she is doing it deliberately, even if she does not fully realize it. You are deep in conversation. The world around you has gone soft. Nothing else holds weight except the space between you. And then her fingers drift slowly, almost absent-mindedly, along the line of her collarbone. She traces it. Maybe she touches a necklace that did not need adjusting. Maybe her fingertips come to rest in the hollow of her throat. She is not fidgeting. She is not uneasy. The collarbone sits at the exact boundary between what is public and what is private. It is a threshold, and when she draws your attention there, she is testing, whether consciously or not, whether you will notice her standing at that line. This is not a signal of comfort. This is an invitation. A slow and quiet dare to see past the surface. She is drawing a map with her fingertips, and it leads somewhere only you are meant to go. When her fingers trace that line, she is not adjusting jewelry. She is opening a door and watching your eyes to see whether you step through. The fourth signal is the shoulder drop. Pay attention here, because something changes. The first three signals were about openness, about trust forming quietly between two people. Beginning here, we cross into something different and heavier. These signals are about invitation. And there is a real distance between a woman who trusts you and a woman who is actively drawing you closer. You are sitting beside her. The conversation has settled into something more personal, more honest. The surrounding noise no longer matters, and then without announcement, without explanation, she slides her jacket off one shoulder. Not quickly. Slowly, as though she wants you to notice, as though the act itself is part of what she is telling you. Removing a layer in someone's presence is one of the oldest trust signals in human behavior. It is symbolic disarmament. She is literally taking off her armor in front of you, and the slowness carries more meaning than you might think. Research shows that gradual reveal creates a far deeper emotional response than anything sudden, because desire does not live in the reveal itself. It lives in the anticipation, in the space between what is hidden and what becomes visible. What she is removing is not fabric. It is the distance between who she is with everyone else and who she wants to be with you. When she drops her guard one shoulder at a time, she is not getting comfortable. She is getting closer, and she needs you to feel the difference. The fifth signal is the inner knee turned. This one hides in plain sight. It is subtle enough that the vast majority of men will walk past it forever. But once you see it clearly, once you understand what it means, you will notice it in every room you enter for the rest of your life. You are in a group, 4 or 5 people, everyone talking and laughing. But something draws your eye downward, and there it is. Her knees are pointed at you. Not toward the group, not toward the exit, not toward anyone else, directly at you. Research on body orientation is unambiguous about this. We unconsciously aim our most sensitive and intimate physical zones toward the person we are most drawn to. It is not a deliberate choice. It runs deeper than choice. She may be smiling at the whole room, making eye contact with someone across from her, fully engaged in the group conversation. But her body has already made a decision her mind has not yet announced. Her knees are quietly telling you what her words are not ready to say. Her mouth belongs to the group, but her body belongs to the moment between you. When a woman's body orients toward you in a room full of other options, that is not accident or coincidence. That is a decision her instincts made before her conscious mind could weigh in. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The sixth signal is the lower back arch. Most advice about attraction will tell you it begins in the eyes. And early on, that is true enough. Eye contact opens the door. But the deeper kind of attraction, the kind that moves past curiosity into something undeniable, something that pulls you forward without permission, that does not show up in her eyes first. It shows up somewhere else entirely. She reaches for something on a high shelf, or she stretches after sitting for a while. And for one brief, unhurried moment, you see it. The natural curve of her lower back, accentuated, effortless, unhidden, as though her body is speaking a language that existed long before words were invented. A language your body already recognizes, even if your mind was never formally taught it. Across every culture ever studied, the lumbar curve is among the most universally recognized signals of feminine beauty and attraction. This is not cultural conditioning. This is not something society trained you to notice. This is biology, pure and ancient, encoded over millions of years of evolution. When she lets you see it, Whether she is aware of the moment or not, it is one of the deepest biological invitations the human body knows how to send. That curve is not a coincidence. It is a conversation your DNA already knows how to have. When her back arches near you, that is not restlessness. That is millions of years of biology delivering a single wordless message. The seventh signal is the hip shift. At the very beginning, there was a promise that one signal changes everything. One signal so primal, so completely woven into what it means to be human, that once you recognize it, it rewrites the way you see every interaction that came before. This is that signal. She is standing in a doorway or leaning against a counter, and she shifts her weight onto one hip. Her hand rests there, easy and natural. And then she glances back at you over her shoulder. In that one quiet moment, something ancient moves inside you. Something that has nothing to do with logic, nothing to do with analysis. You do not think it. You do not decide to feel it. You just feel it. Instantly, completely, without asking why. The hip-to-waist ratio is the single most studied marker of female attractiveness in all of evolutionary psychology. It crosses culture. It crosses era. It crosses geography, language, and every social rule ever written. When she draws attention to this part of herself in your presence, whether she knows she is doing it or not, it is the most primal signal her body knows how to send. This is not learned behavior. This is not something absorbed from media or culture. It is encoded, written into the very foundation of human attraction. And it is meant for you. Every man has felt that pull at some point, that gravity, that wordless full-body recognition that something just shifted between you and her. You felt it, but could not explain it. Now you understand what was actually happening. Now you have the word for what your body always already knew. When her hips speak, no translation is needed. Every cell in your body already knows the language. The eighth signal is the lip moment. We have arrived at territory most men never reach. Not because it is concealed, not because it is complex, but because it happens so quickly, so quietly, so briefly, that a single blink and you miss the most honest thing she will ever show you. You are mid-conversation. Words are flowing, and then everything pauses for half a breath. Her eyes drop from yours to your mouth, just for a moment, and then softly, barely, she bites her lower lip. So subtle you would miss it entirely if your attention were anywhere else. She looks away, carrying the faintest trace of a smile. Not embarrassment, not nerves. That was her mind running ahead of the present moment, past the conversation, into something that has not happened yet. During heightened attraction, blood naturally increases to the lips. Touching them is the body's way of managing a feeling the brain can barely hold. Neuroscience confirms that lip-focused gestures activate the same brain regions associated with the anticipation of physical closeness. She is not choosing to do this. Her body is responding to something it feels but cannot say. It is rehearsing something her words have not yet given permission for. She is not searching for the next thing to say. She has stopped thinking about the conversation entirely. She is feeling what happens after the words stop. The ninth and final signal is the full proximity surrender. Every signal shared up to this point has been a fragment, a piece of the sentence her body has been composing since the moment she met you. But this last one is not a piece. It is not a whisper or a hint or a gentle test. This is the whole truth. And it is something only the man she has chosen will ever feel. A crowded room. She could stand anywhere, sit anywhere. There are open spaces, other people, easier options in every direction. But she is next to you, close. Closer than the space requires, closer than courtesy demands. You feel her warmth before there's any contact, and then her shoulder brushes against yours. And she does not pull back. She does not adjust. She does not rebuild the distance. She leans in, slowly and quietly, as though the space between you was the last thing still standing in her way. And in that moment, something becomes clear that changes everything. Every wall she ever built around herself is gone. She took them down, one by one, without announcement. This is the final vulnerability display. Every signal before this was a single word. This is the complete sentence. When a woman removes all physical distance between herself and you, voluntarily, consistently, without prompting, her subconscious has finished its deliberation. The internal debate is over. Her body has said everything it knows how to say. The only question remaining is whether you truly heard it. This is not closeness for comfort. This is closeness as confession. When she stays pressed against your world without pulling away, she is not simply standing near you. She is choosing you, silently, completely, with everything she has, and hoping with every part of herself that you choose her back. Now sit with this for a moment. None of these signals should ever be read in isolation. One signal might mean comfort, one might be habit, one might carry no particular meaning at all, but when 3, 4, 5 of them appear together, consistently, from the same woman, that is not coincidence. That is not your imagination. That is a conversation, a real one. One she has been having with you in a language she trusted you to understand. And understanding that conversation comes with a responsibility most men never pause to consider. She is not performing for you. She is revealing herself to you. Those are two entirely different things. The man who grasps that distinction, who truly understands what it costs a woman to be that vulnerable, to dismantle every wall she spent her entire life constructing, that is the man she actually wants. Not the loudest one, not the most aggressive one, not the one with the sharpest line, the one who sees her. This was never about decoding a body. It was about recognizing trust. And the man who can hold that kind of truth with care, with awareness, with respect, changes everything between himself and the people he cares about. Attraction was never about the perfect line at the perfect moment. It was never about the right move or the right words. It was always about the quiet language beneath everything else. Her eyes, her posture, her proximity, the way her body shifted the moment you walked into the room. It has been telling you the truth the entire time. You just needed someone to help you hear it. And now that you can, you will never unhear it. Not because you memorized a list, not because you learned a technique, but because you understood a truth that most good men, kind men, men who genuinely care, go their entire lives without finding. The greatest connections between two people never begin with a perfect conversation. They begin with a signal, quiet, honest, and brave. She has been sending it all along. If something in all of this brought a specific memory back to you, a moment you felt but could not name until right now, share it. Tell someone else who deserves to hear this. Because this kind of understanding, it is just getting started.